All right, guys, I'm on chapter 37 of Lemons titled Deep Down Love. After breakfast, Debbie helps me get ready so we can all go back to the hospital to visit Charlie. I watch her in the bathroom mirror while she gently brushes the knots out of my curls. She's helping me tie a bandana in my hair just like hers. She found me a pink one back at her place, and then we picked out a pink top for my chest of drawers to go with it. I study her while she concentrates on detangling the red jungle. She looks a lot like Tobin, mostly in the eyes and the lips. You miss him, don't you? I finally ask her. Who? Charlie? No, Scotty. She stops brushing and then her eyes meet mine in the mirror. They're exactly the same color as Tobin's, bright blue with tiny specks of brown inside. Yes, she says softly, starting to brush the knots again. Very much. I'm sure just as much as you miss your mom. I sigh and lean on the counter in front of me, my chin in my hand. I miss her so much sometimes my insides hurt, like worse than having the flu. I know that ache, she says. I know it very well. What do you do when you hurt so bad inside that you don't know what to do with yourself? She takes a long time to think about her answer. I can tell she's thinking because she looks just like Tobin when she's doing it, serious and intense. Well, I guess I try to think about some of the best times I can remember with him. And sometimes it turns that ache into happiness. Happiness that I had Scotty in my life at all. Even if I don't get to keep him forever here on earth, I get to keep him forever in here. And she points to her heart. I know exactly what you mean. I have so many good memories of times I spent with Mama. I can't even count them all. She meets my eyes again and grins real big at me in the mirror. And then she stops brushing and pulls herself up on the counter next to me. Tell me one, a wonderful memory of your mom. I'd love to hear it. You would? Of course I would. Now it's my turn to think really hard. Oh, there's so many, I tell her. It's hard to choose. She nods like she understands, and I know she really does. Every Saturday morning, I'd get up early and I'd crawl into bed with her and we'd cuddle together. And we'd get up and walk to Piper's Bakery near the pier and get hot tea in the biggest, stickiest, gooeyest bear claws you'd ever seen. Then we'd go down by the water to find a bench and we'd eat the bear claws and we'd catch on what happened during the week. I'd tell her all about my friends at school, and she'd tell me all about the animals that she came to see her and their owners, too. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Saturdays were my most favorite day of the week because of that. Debbie smiles. I can see why. Now you tell me one, I say, putting my hand on her knee. Okay, she says, covering my hand with hers. When I was pregnant with Tobin, I had to spend some time in bed, and I was so bored and tired of being in bed all the time, and Scotty came home from work every day with a single tulip to put in the vase next to my bed, just because I couldn't get outside to enjoy them. And then he would go down to the kitchen and make us open-faced breakfast sandwiches for dinner with sunny side-up eggs and crispy bacon on top, because that's what I was craving back then. And then we'd sit in bed together and watch Johnny Carson while we shared a bowl of Neapolitan ice cream. I ate all the strawberry, and he always complained I didn't share it with him. Oh, she laughs to herself. I stuck him with the vanilla and chocolate every time. Oh, and I laugh too. Is that why you only buy strawberry ice cream? I ask her. Her eyes get wide. Yes, she says. How did you? Tobin said you only buy strawberry even though vanilla goes best with chocolate cake. Oh, yes. He tells me again and again. She smiles to herself. I guess I buy it for Scotty for when, if, if he comes home. You love him a whole lot, don't you? Deeply, just like how you love your mother. Deep down love, I say. Yes, deep down love. Charlie said Scotty wrote you a letter. Yes, she says quietly. I keep it with me all the time. I guess it makes me feel closer to him, to read his words. How much he loved us. I know what you mean, I tell her. I keep Rainbow right on top of my bed now, even though she doesn't smell like my mama. I know that once she held that rabbit close to her, and when I hold it close to me, it's almost like she's holding me again, the way she used to. She smiles. I remember Rainbow. You do? Oh, yes. I smile too now and know what Debbie's right. Thinking of memories with Mama does make the ache inside of me feel better, because it's like for that moment, she's here with me again. Debbie looks at me. Thank you for sharing your memories. And thank you for letting me share mine. Then she jumps down from the counter and wraps her arms around me. You're very special, Lemonade Liberty Wit. I'm so glad I get to know you. arms feel nice around me, almost like when Mama's were around me, but different too. And it's a nice different. At 10:15 hours, really 10:15 a.m., we all pile into Debbie's copper-colored Pinto and head back to the hospital to visit Charlie. Tobin lets me ride shotgun without my even having to call it. On the way there, my palms are wet and my stomach is still queasy. I bite my fingernails the whole way across Highway 299, then down at Davis, and then even Blue Lake Boulevard, where the hospital is. By the time we get there, my thumb is bleeding a little and it aches because I bit too far down. Charlie's room is number 1. When we get to the door, I push it open. "Well, there they are," Charlie says with a big smile on his face. He's sitting up in bed with a book. I scramble up on the bed next to him and wrap my arms around his neck. He looks more surprised than I've ever seen him, but he wraps his arms around me and he gives me a big, warm hug. "I'm so sorry, Charlie," I burst out, my cheek on his shoulder. I'm just so sorry." "Oh, Lem, it's not your fault," he tells me, squeezing me tight. "I'm the one who slipped on the rocks. That was all me." "But if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't have been out there to begin with." I pull away to face him. "Out in the rain looking for me?" "Well, I suppose that's true," he tells me. "But wherever you go, I'm going to follow you. You know why?" "Why?" "Because," as he clears his throat, "because I love you. That's why." Did he just say love? Love? Me? Lemonade, Liberty, Wit? After everything that's happened? After I spewed lava in every direction, even though I forgot how to make lemonade? I look up at him and he gives me another big squeeze, and it feels like I'm being pulled from the quicksand. His face tells me that he's been there the whole time, making sure I didn't sink too deep, waiting for me to figure a way out on my own. But when I slipped farther, he gave me his hand. That big, strong hand with a special silver band. Just like the night we made warm milk on the stove. Okay, enough of this. He clears his throat. "I have a very important question for all you. There's nothing but salt-free chicken, runny mashed potatoes, and watery jello in this place. Did someone bring me a bag of Tibetan yak jerky?" And everybody laughs, even me.